Welcome to Regent Park TV. I'm Kedar Ahmed, and today we bring you coverage of a moving Remembrance Day ceremony in our local community. On November the 11th, community members gathered at Parliament and Carlton Street for a Remembrance Day ceremony hosted by the Cabbagetown BIA, honoring Canada's veterans and the sacrifices they made. This year's observance brought together residents from Cabbagetown, Regent Park, and surrounding areas in a poignant display of remembrance and unity. The gather offered residents not only a moment of solemn reflection, but also a chance to connect with neighbors and local veterans. In a city as diverse as Toronto, events like these reinforce the importance of unity, respect, and community bonds. Now join us for a full ceremony as we remember together.
Thank you all for joining us for our Remembrance Day ceremony. My name is Matthew Mohan, and I'm the Executive Director here at the Cabbagetown BIA. Before we begin, I do want to acknowledge the land in which we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. As well, we would like to acknowledge the Indigenous peoples who have served and continue to serve in the Canadian Armed Forces. The First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people have a long and proud tradition of military service of what we now call Canada. Over 12,000 served to defend Canada in the War of 1812, the First and Second World Wars, Korea and Afghanistan, and in UN peacekeeping missions. Though it wasn't until 1995 that Indigenous people were allowed to lay Remembrance Day wreaths at the National War Memorial to remember and honor their dead comrades. Approximately 2,700 Indigenous peoples are currently serving in the Canadian Armed Forces, and we continue to honor Indigenous veterans while committing ourselves to have greater respect and appreciation for their service. Now, I would very much like to thank our gracious sponsors who helped support this event. Thank you to Zero Cocktail Bar, Home Hardware, Danielle Catering and Events, the Epicure Shop, Dixon Hall Employment Services, Stout Irish Pub, Butter Chicken Factory, Home Life Realty One, Dentistry on Parliament, St. Jamestown Steak and Chops, Johnny G's Cafe, and 99 Frames. I know that many of you know a lot of these businesses, many of you may not, but they're all so generous and we would not be able to put on events like this without them. So please support them and check them out if you don't already know them, or if you do, just check them out anyway. We are also joined today by MP for Toronto Centre, Marci Ien, MPP for Toronto Centre, Kristen Wong-Tam, and Ward 13 City Councillor, Chris Moyes. Thank you for honoring with us as well. And I would like to introduce Silas Friesen, who's over here, who will be participating in our ceremony as the trumpeter. Throughout today's ceremony, we encourage you all to sing along to the hymn. The lyrics can be found in the program, and if you don't have a program already, I believe Hazel is around here somewhere with a number of programs available. Join us in the singing of our national anthem when that comes along. So now I would like to ask Bill Renieris, who is the chair of the Cabbagetown BIA, to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. First off, I want to welcome and thank all the war veterans that are here today. Good morning, everyone. My name is Bill Renieris, chairman of the Cabbagetown BIA. On behalf of the BIA and our community, I warmly welcome you to this important gathering the Cabbagetown Remembrance Day ceremony. Today, we come together to honor those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. Our soldiers fought bravely overseas, standing against the threat of fascism, not only to protect others, but to ensure these threats never reached our shores. They defined our shared values of peace, justice, and freedom, upholding a vision of Canada as a safe and tolerant nation. Canadian soldiers have played a crucial role in protecting vulnerable populations and standing against threats to humanity. Their efforts exemplify a commitment to defending justice, opposing oppression, and preserving peace. As we remember their sacrifices today, we recognize not only their bravery on the battlefields, but their enduring legacy as protectors of freedom, standing for the rights and safety of people everywhere. In these challenging times, when the world looks to countries like ours for inspiration, our strength lies in unity, and our progress is rooted in the principles of inclusivity and respect. As we reflect today, think about how we can live our lives every day in a way that honors the heroes who have stood for these principles. The Cabbagetown BIA takes immense pride in hosting this ceremony. It is our privilege to stand alongside you, our friends and neighbors. Thank you for joining us in paying tribute to those who gave everything for our future. God bless them, lest we forget.
Thank you, Bill. Please join us for the singing of O Canada. Thank you. I'd now like to introduce Amelia to say a few words.
Hello. Before we ask MP Marci Ien to read In Flanders Fields, we'd like to give a brief background of the poem. Oh, sorry. Is that better? Everybody can hear me now? Okay. Before we ask MP Marci Ien to read In Flanders Fields, we'd like to give you a brief background of the poem. Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae was a poet and physician from Guelph, Ontario. He was inspired to write the poem In Flanders Fields after presiding over the funeral of a friend and fellow soldier, Lieutenant Alexis Helmer, who died at the Second Battle of Ypres in May 1915. According to legend, fellow soldiers received the poem from after McCrae. Initially dissatisfied with his work, he discarded it. In Flanders Fields was first published on December 8th of that year in the London magazine Punch. Flanders Fields is a common English name of the World War I battlefields of Belgium and France. It is one of the most quoted poems of the war. As a result of its immediate popularity, parts of the poem were used in efforts to recruit soldiers and raise money selling war bonds. Its references to the red poppies that grew over the graves of fallen soldiers resulted in the Remembrance poppy, becoming one of the world's most recognized memorial symbols for soldiers who have died in conflict. The poem and poppy are prominent Remembrance Day symbols throughout the Commonwealth of Nations, particularly in Canada, where In Flanders Fields is one of the nation's best-known literary works. And now please welcome Marci Ien.
Amelia, thank you so much for that important background on this poem that I'm about to read. Can you hear me? Okay, hold on. Is that better? Okay. In Flanders Fields. In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely singing fly. Scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago. We lived, felt dawn, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields.
Thank you, Marci. Silas will now perform "O God Our Help in Ages Past." Those tracks, you know. Silas will now perform "O God Our Help in Ages Past." The lyrics are in your program, so feel free to sing along if you feel comfortable doing so. Thank you. Thank you very much. I would now like to invite 3 community members to perform the poem "Why Wear a Poppy." We have local business owner Patty Jr. of the Epicure Shop. I know many of you know her. She's a longtime board member and sponsor of this event. I also wanted to mention that the Epicure Shop is offering discounted lunches to free lunches to veterans all day today. We also have Lissed Gamboa, manager of community outreach and employment engagement at Dixon Hall, who works hard to find meaningful employment for skilled individuals right here in Cabbagetown. And we have Gail Lynch, who is also a sponsor of this event, and she's owner of Zero Cocktail Bar, a new zero alcohol shop and bar down on Carlton. So if you haven't been down there, I highly recommend you check them out perhaps today. So thank you, Patty, Lissed, and Gail. Oh, come on up.
Please, can you hear me? Please wear a poppy, the lady said, and held one forth, but I shook my head. Hello? Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. I'm not in the entertainment field. Then I stopped and watched as she offered them there, and her face was old and lined with care. But beneath the scars the years had made, there remained a smile that refused to fade. A boy came whistling down the street, bouncing along on carefree feet. His smile was full of joy and fun. "Lady," said he, "may I have one?" When she pinned it on, he turned to say, "Why do we wear a poppy today?" The lady smiled in her wistful way and answered, "This is Remembrance Day, and the poppy there is a symbol for the gallant men who died in war."
And because they did, you and I are free. That's why we wear a poppy, you see. I had a boy about your size, with golden hair and big blue eyes. He loved to play and jump and shout. Free as a bird, he would race about. As the years went by, he learned and grew and became a man, as you will too. He was fine and strong, with a boyish smile, but he'd seen with us such a little while. When war broke out and he went away, I still remember his face that day. When he smiled at me and said goodbye, "I'll be back soon, Mom, please don't cry." But the war went on and he had to stay. And all I could do was wait and pray.
His letters told of the awful fight. I can still see it in my dreams at night, with the tanks and the guns and cruel barbed wire and the mines and the bullets and the bombs and the fire, till at last, the war was won. And that's why we wear a poppy. Son, the small boy turned as if to go, then said, "Thanks, lady, I'm glad to know. That sure did sound like an awful fight. But your son, did he come back all right?" A tear rolled down each faded cheek. She shook her head, but didn't speak. I slunk away in a sort of shame, and if you were me, you'd have done the same. For our thanks in giving, if oft delayed, though our freedom was bought and thousands paid, and so, when we see a poppy worn, let us reflect on the burden borne by those who gave their very all when asked to answer their country's call, that we at home in peace might live. Then wear a poppy, remember, and give. Free non-alcoholic cocktails, of course, for all the veterans.
Thank you. I'm sure you'll all agree that we are so fortunate to have such amazing business owners and representatives here in Cabbagetown. So thank you again. I now invite our MP, Marci Ien, back up to say a few words about what Remembrance Day means to her.
Thank you so very much, Matthew. And Remembrance Day means so much, especially now as wars continue to rage across this world. I want to thank everyone involved for the beautiful poems and the veterans that are here today. Thank you for your service. So much sacrifice. veterans who fought to protect Canadian values, to keep our country free, are immeasurable. I'm deeply grateful to be here to honor them. Today, we remember those who laid down their lives and served our country with selflessness, with immeasurable bravery. Remembrance Day is also an opportunity for us to recognize the families and communities of those served, whose love, support, and strength has continued to uplift both our veterans and active service members. The commitment of our veterans to our country has extended from their service overseas to their ongoing contributions within their communities as they volunteer and as they share their stories with us. It's not lost on me that in schools across our country today, there are veterans, there are those in active duty who will attend those schools and who will tell their stories to the youngest of us, so they too understand the importance of this day. Thanks to their legacy, we use this day to help foster a world rooted in empathy, rooted in peace and cooperation amongst our neighbors here at home and those globally. I'd like to reflect as well on the symbolism of the poppy. We just heard the poem, Why Wear a Poppy? It represents both the resilience of our service members, and it serves as a solemn reminder of each life that was lost, each story that was sacrificed in pursuit of a better future for generations to come. Thank you again for having me here today. It really is my utmost honor to be with you, to honor those who put country and community before self.
Thank you so much, MP Ien. I will now like to invite Councillor Chris Moyes to also say a few words, and then he will be leading us through an act of remembrance. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Matthew. And good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be here with all of you today to commemorate another Remembrance Day here in Cabbagetown. There's something truly special about Cabbagetown that always amazes me. Its beautiful architecture, the diversity of design and style, and the landscapes that tell the story of Toronto's rich and dynamic history. As we gather here today, we are reminded of how much has changed since the first observance of Remembrance Day. Yet, the legacies of the brave men and women who served and sacrificed in wars around the world live on. Through the freedoms we enjoy today and through the stories we continue to tell. One such story is that of Jeremiah Jones, a Black Canadian soldier who went so far as to falsify the age on his registration papers so he could fight for our country. Jones fought on the front lines of Vimy Ridge, where he and his unit bravely challenged German soldiers. Despite his heroic action, Jones, like many Black soldiers, was denied recognition for his courage. Only in 2010, after decades of advocacy, was he finally awarded a Canadian Forces Medallion for distinguished service. But the story of Jeremiah Jones is not just about recognition. It is about the enduring legacy of countless Black, Indigenous, and other marginalized soldiers who fought not for fame or reward, but for the ideals of freedom and equality. Their contributions, often overlooked or erased, form an integral part of our national story. May their courage, dedication, and memory live on, and they continue to inspire us, lest we forget. Now I will share the act of remembrance. When I say we will remember, please repeat after me. We will remember them. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not worry them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them.
Thank you, Councillor. I would now like to invite MPP Kristen Wong-Tam up to say a few words, and then she will be leading us through the commitment to remember. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew, and thank you to Bill and everyone at the Cabbagetown BIA for organizing this very meaningful Remembrance Day moment for us in Cabbagetown. And we know that Remembrance Day is not just another day on the calendar, but it is an opportunity, a time of reflection for all of us as Canadians from coast to coast to think about the freedoms that we enjoy today, largely delivered because of the sacrifice of others. The brave men and women who served in uniform, who left behind their families for an unexpected period of time, not knowing if they will return. I don't want us to pass this moment without really thinking about what that looks like. For those who fought in the First World War, the Second World War, and every other time of conflict and war. Those who serve even in times of peace when they are away from their families. My father served in the British and Hong Kong Navy, and I know that I was 9 months old, already born, by the time he came to see me for the very first time. And the sacrifice that my mom had to make, not having him with her during child delivery in those first 9 months. I think about the men and women who didn't return home to their families. They left with courage in their heart, determined to make the sacrifice for country. And today, we remember their resilience. And we remember them by wearing the poppy. We remember them by having the poppy over our hearts, knowing and reflecting that this poppy is not just an object, but it is truly symbolic of everything that we hold dear. Our freedoms today, freedoms of speech, freedoms of belief, the freedoms to pursue a peaceful life. To our veterans who are here, thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all that you have done. To Mr. Jim Irwin, who sits at the front, who traveled from Bracebridge to be with us today, thank you very much for joining us. I would like to also extend now a reading. And like before, when you hear the words, we remember them, please repeat after me by repeating so. They were young, as we are young. They served, giving freely of themselves. To them we pledge, amid the winds of time, to carry their torch and never forget. We will remember them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kristen. Silas, I now ask you to please perform the last post. This will be immediately followed by a 2-minute moment of silence for reflection or prayer. Thank you, everyone. Once again, Silas. And that concludes the Cabbagetown Remembrance Ceremony. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Before you leave, we still have lots and lots of coffee, so please enjoy some light refreshments, grab a coffee, tea, decaf, whatever you happen to find over there. Please enjoy it so you don't have to throw it out, because that would be sad. As well, feel free to meet your neighbors. I think everyone, we have a great community here, so feel free to take some time to chat if you'd like. As well, Gilles Suat of the Cabbagetown Preservation Association, who is right over here waving around his little book. He will be inviting those interested on a tour of military graves at the Toronto Necropolis, where people can leave their poppies. So Gilles, if you could, well, you are making yourself known, so if anyone would like to join him on a tour of the necropolis, I believe he'll probably be leaving in 5 to 10 minutes. And thank you all again, and please have a wonderful week.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And please follow our social media platforms. For more information, check out our website,